Most people have a version of Jesus in their head, gentle, soft-spoken, walks around saying nice things, pats children on the head, never upsets anyone. Here's the problem with that version. It doesn't match the actual Jesus in the actual Gospels. The actual Jesus said things so shocking that crowds were left speechless, so radical that religious leaders wanted him dead, so demanding that even his own followers sometimes said, "This is too hard, we can't follow this." So what did he actually teach? Buckle up, because it's way more interesting than you think. The most famous teaching Jesus ever gave is called the Sermon on the Mount. Matthew chapters 5 through 7. 3 chapters, one sitting, on a hillside somewhere in Galilee. And it opens with something called the Beatitudes. A list of statements about who is blessed. And right from the first line, it flips everything upside down. Blessed are the poor in spirit. Blessed are those who mourn. Blessed are the meek. In a world where everyone was chasing power, wealth, and status, Jesus opens by saying the blessed ones are the humble, the grieving, the gentle. That's not what anyone expected. But then it gets more challenging. He says, "You have heard it said, 'Do not murder.' But I tell you that anyone who is angry with a brother is already guilty. You have heard it said, 'Do not commit adultery.' But I tell you that anyone who looks at someone with lust has already committed adultery in their heart. You have heard it said, 'Love your neighbor.' But I tell you, love your enemies. Pray for those who persecute you." Every time he says, "You have heard it said," he's quoting the accepted religious teaching of his day. And every time he says, "But I tell you," he raises the bar to a level nobody could meet. Not just the action, the heart behind the action. Not just what you do, what you want to do. By the end of the sermon, the crowd isn't nodding along. They're astonished, because he taught with an authority nobody had ever seen before. Jesus was also a storyteller. He taught in parables, short stories with a deeper meaning underneath. And he was brilliant at it. The Good Samaritan, a man gets beaten and robbed on a road. A priest walks past, a religious official walks past, and then a Samaritan, a person from a group the Jewish audience despised, stops, helps, pays for his care, goes above and beyond. The point, your neighbor isn't just the person who looks like you, believes like you, lives near you. Your neighbor is anyone who needs you. The prodigal son. A young man demands his inheritance early, basically telling his father he wishes he were dead. Blows it all on reckless living, ends up broke and desperate, decides to go home and beg to be taken on as a servant. But before he even reaches the house, his father sees him coming from a distance, runs to meet him, throws his arms around him, and throws a party. The point? That's what God is like, not waiting to be convinced, running toward you, the lost sheep. A shepherd has 100 sheep. One goes missing. He leaves the 99 and searches until he finds the one, then celebrates. The point? One person matters that much. These weren't just nice stories. They were bombs wrapped in narratives. Every one of them detonating a comfortable assumption about God, about people, about who matters and who doesn't. Let's stay on this one for a second because it might be the most radical thing Jesus ever said. Love your enemies, not tolerate them, not avoid them, not defeat them. Love them. In first-century Judea, this wasn't theoretical. The Jewish people were living under brutal Roman occupation. Real enemies, real oppression, real suffering. And Jesus says, love them, pray for them, do good to those who hate you. Every other ethical system in history has basically said, be good to your own people. Treat your group well. Have loyalty to your tribe. Jesus blew that up completely. He said, anyone can love the people who love them back. What's remarkable about that? Even the worst people do that. What makes you different is loving the person who has no reason to expect your love. The enemy, the stranger, the person who has hurt you. This teaching alone was enough to make people furious. It still is. There's one phrase that appears more than almost any other in Jesus' teaching: the kingdom of God. He talks about it constantly. It's in his parables, it's in his prayers, it's in almost every major teaching he gives. But what is it? The kingdom of God, according to Jesus, is not a physical place you go when you die. It's not a political empire. It's not a future event that hasn't happened yet. It's the reality that exists wherever God's rule is welcomed, wherever things are done the way God intended them to be done, wherever the broken gets restored, the poor are lifted up, the forgotten are seen. Jesus said the kingdom of God is like a mustard seed, the smallest seed in the garden that grows into the largest tree. Small beginnings, enormous results. He said it's like yeast in bread. Invisible, quiet, working through the whole thing from the inside out. He said it's already here, and it's still coming, both at the same time, which means every act of genuine love, every moment of real justice, every time someone chooses generosity over greed. That's the kingdom of God breaking into the world right now. So why did all of this get Jesus killed? Because everything he taught threatened someone's power. The religious leaders of his day had built an entire system around rules, rituals, and religious performance. Who was in and who was out, who was clean and who wasn't, who had access to God and who didn't. And Jesus kept walking into that system and blowing holes in it. He healed people on the Sabbath, the day you weren't supposed to work, and said the Sabbath was made for people, not people for the Sabbath. He ate with tax collectors, the most despised collaborators with Rome, and said he came for the sick, not the healthy. He touched lepers, people considered ceremonially unclean, and made them clean. He talked to women in public, which respectable Jewish teachers simply didn't do. He told a story where the hero was a Samaritan, a group the Jews had nothing to do with. Every single interaction was a deliberate challenge to the social and religious hierarchy of his day, and then he made the claim that finished it. He said, "Before Abraham was, I am." He forgave sins directly. He accepted worship. The religious leaders had two choices: accept that he was who he claimed to be, or get rid of him. They chose to get rid of him, which, as we covered last episode, turned out to be exactly what he came to allow. So what did Jesus actually teach? That the humble matter more than the powerful, that the heart matters more than the action, that your enemy deserves your love, that one lost person is worth everything, that God runs toward you before you even finish walking home, and that the entire religious system built on keeping people at a distance from God was wrong. That's what got him killed, and that's what changed the world. Next time, the men who walked with him: fishermen, tax collectors, a political revolutionary, a doubter, a betrayer. Who were the 12 disciples? See you then.